What's good, GOG gang? We got something special for you guys today. Today we got the Starter Decks 08 and Starter
09.
Decks 09. Right, we're going to crack these open for you guys and take a look and see exactly what's inside and give you guys our thoughts. So we've got the starter deck here. I haven't done too much research on it to see what's inside. I know there's really good 9-drop shanks in here. That's going to probably pair well really nicely with the black deck. So let's crack it open and see what's inside. Alright, so right away we have the leader, where his effect is your turn. When a character is KO'd, give one rested Dawn to your leader. So that's pretty sweet. So we got the Monkey D. Luffy leader. The Uta. This character can't be KO'd by a leader, which I think is pretty good of an effect, honestly, especially starting off. And then you can rest this character, give up to one of your your opponent's characters -2 cost during this turn. Nice. And then here's that Shanks I was talking about. You may trash one card from your hand, KO all of your characters with a cost, all of the characters with a cost of 1 or less. Got 2 of those bad boys. Gaimon, standard 2-drop, vanilla character. Kobe, activate main, you may rest this character, KO up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 2 or less. Nice, more KO power with Kobe, kind of similar to his 3-drop version. A little bit, and then you have Shirahoshi, which is a blocker, and then you can give on play give one of your opponent's characters -4 cost during this turn. It's nice. It kind of sucks that it's a it doesn't really use a has 0 power on it and isn't a 2K counter, but definitely that reducing by 4K will definitely come up for sure, especially if you're using some of those other Navy cards. So we got 4 of those in here. Then we got another blocker. Looks like Vivi, right? Let's see, a trigger effect, which is nice. Not a lot of the black cards have trigger effects, especially the characters. And then it just looks like a standard blocker for a 3-drop. Nice. And then Higuma on play, give one of your opponent's characters -2 cost during this turn. So it seems like a lot of these cards are reducing the cost. So it's like I think we have a lot of KO power in black. So that having that second piece, because they kind of work hand in hand too, reducing the cost and then also having the KO power. So it looks like this deck is really big on reducing that cost. So you got 4 of these. Nice. Makino, nice little 2-drop version. On play, if there's a character of cost of 0, draw 1 card. I really don't see this coming up, but that 2K counter seems real nice. So it comes with 4 of those. Monkey D. Garp, it's vanilla, 5-drop for 7. Honestly, at this point though, for this card, I'd rather run that Smoker. Right, similar stats, but you also get a pretty nice effect with that double attack. Vanilla Luffy, just 3-drop for 5. Pretty nice stats. Kind of mirrors that Zoro. Laboon, 4-drop for 6. Vanilla again. Then Mr. 2 Bon Cure Bentham. With 1 Dawn on. At the end of the battle in which this character battles your opponent character, you may KO the opponent's character you battled with. If you do, KO this character. Interesting. So it's kind of like you kind of just commit, you just kind of both pop off, right? You swing at him, and then you guys both lose characters. So I think this would be pretty good on a character that kind of is a pesky on your opponent's board. Say they drop a 10-drop on it, you can easily wipe it away with his 5. So it's pretty interesting a way. I'm sure a lot of people come up with some pretty interesting ways to use this as a tech. And then here come the events. Gum Gum Bell. You may add 1 card from the top of your life cards to your hand and give one of your opponent's characters -7 cost during this turn. Honestly, this is pretty nuts. I think I can see this pairing well with like the black-yellow green mom or black-yellow big mom, just because we having to manipulate life and then also having that additional power to the KO. So that's pretty crazy, especially that 7 -7 for a 2 cost. It's pretty nasty, especially with if you think about it with that Kobe. So you could really knock out those 10 drops, which those bigger drop cards tend to be a little bit more difficult to pop with black. So it comes with 4 of them. Nice. I was expecting only 2. And then you have Gum Gum Pistol, KO one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 2 or less, and then trigger effect to draw 1 card. So, yeah, I think this is pretty good too. Like I said, this kind of if all of these cards are good at reducing the cost, these are kind of what you're going to be using to swing for to KO the characters. So overall, I think it's pretty good of a starter deck. We're going to see it a little bit, paired up against that Yamato structure deck, and we're going to see who really comes out on top.
So we have the ST-09 Yamato starter deck right here, so we're going to open this up and see if there are any cards that go well with a black-yellow Big Mom, which I currently run, or a Katakuri. So let's open this up real quick for you guys. Boom, there she is right there. And just in case you didn't know, her effect is if you have 2 or less life cards, this leader gains 2,000 power. Right there. So let's open this up and see what we got. I don't think there are going to be a lot of life manipulation cards for this deck. I think it's going to be mainly focused on attacking it, if that's my guess, because this leader right here has a lot of defense already. So next up, we have Kozuki Odin. And this character gains double attack when you attach a Dawn, and you may attach 2 cards from your hand on KO and add up to 1 card from top of your deck to the top of your life cards. So this is pretty crazy. This is a pretty cracked card. Because of that Dawn +1, you gain double attack, which is insane already, and then on KO you gain an extra life. So that's a really good card to have out there early. And most of yellow runs on an even curve, so with this at a 7 drop, it's a really good way to have an odd curve for your deck as well. And there are 2 of those. Then we have Ace, a 6 drop, and once per turn, if this character would be KO'd, you may trash 1 card from the top or bottom of your life cards instead. So this is really good for keeping characters on board when you need to have them on there. And yeah, just really good board control over all. Uzuki Tempura, I'm probably pronouncing all these wrong. Just a trigger effect that would be pretty nice to add to a yellow deck. Rest up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 2 or less and add this card to your hand. So that's pretty good, being able to rest a character off a trigger and being able to KO a pesky character on board. And we have 4 of those, I'm assuming? Yes, we have 4 of those. Next up, we have Ulti, just a vanilla character with an 1,000 counter. Well, I mean, 4 drop for 6,000 power is pretty insane, and there are going to be 4 of her in this deck. We have Kaido. If you add a Dawn, if you have 2 or less life cards, this character cannot be KO'd in battle. That's pretty good for board control again, but then again, that late in the game, I don't know if you would want all the smoke to be on your leader. So this card could be very situational. Then we have Kozuki Momonosuke, another vanilla card, 2 costs for 4,000. That's pretty good. 4 of him. We have Shinobu, a blocker. On block, you may add 1 card from top or bottom of your life cards to your hand. This character gains 4,000 power during this battle. So it's nice to keep a blocker on field sometimes, but I don't know if it's really worth that life. It's really situational as well. Then we have Shimotusuki Ushimaru. I am butchering these names so bad. When attaching 1 Dawn and when attacking, you may add 1 card from top or bottom of your life cards to your hand. Play up to 1 yellow Land of Wano type character with a cost of 4 or less from your hand. Another really situational card. I think most of these are pretty situational, and but it's good for the starter deck right now. A trigger on this character, KO up to 1 of your opponent's characters with a cost of 1 or less and add this card to your hand. Again, not a bad card. There are definitely better in yellow. Monkey D. Luffy, a vanilla card, 3 costs for 5,000. Not bad, but I would much rather run Parasparrow, where on the KO you get to search your deck. And there are going to be 4 of him. Yamato, when attacking, you may add 1 card from top or bottom of your life cards to your hand. This character gains 2,000 power. We are seeing a lot of these cards where if you add 1 of your life cards, you're gaining that attack power, which could come in clutch. A 5 cost for 7,000. That could be good, but I think there are better cards to supplement it with out there. Now we're on to the events. Narikabura Arrow. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing this. If you have 2 or less life cards, give up to 1 of your opponent's leader or character cards minus 3,000 power during this turn. A pretty standard counter card. Next up, we got Thunder Bagua. Up to 1 of your leader or character gains 4,000 power during this battle. Then if you have 2 or less life cards, add up to 1 of your opponent's characters with a cost of 3 or less to the bottom of the owner's life cards face up. I don't think this counter is very good in my opinion. There are 4 of them. It's alright. And then we have these 10 Dons. So that's it for the yellow starter deck. Not bad. Like I said, these super rares are going to be really good. Especially this Kozuki Oda. I can see it being ran a lot. So yeah, let's get to the battle with black.
What's up, guys? It's GLG Spoon, and I'm going to be doing this voiceover for you guys today. But please take this battle with a grain of salt. First of all, this is our first time playing with the deck, so we're trying to figure out if it's good or not, figure out what works and what doesn't. And also, we are not running this deck with sleeves because we didn't want to spend the money on it when we don't know if we're going to be using these cards in the future or not. But anyway, let's start the battle. I believe I rest 2 Dawn and play Momonosuke. He's a 2-drop 4K. I was just trying to get any characters I could out on the board, and he's really good because I could just add 1 Don to him and he could attack for 5K at the leader. But with this Luffy, when your character is KO'd, give 1 rested Don to this leader. I have to be very careful of that and be very decisive about what characters I let be KO'd, because he could gain another Don easily. But James decides to play VV, just an average blocker, and swing with his leader. I don't mind taking this because I could be up in card count, and usually you take the first swing anyway. Okay, my second turn. I believe I decide to play a Luffy here. I might be wrong. 3, yeah. So this 3-drop Luffy is pretty good. 5,000 attack is really good for a 3-drop, but I would rather run Parasparrow. If you're looking for a lot more damage like in your deck, I would definitely add this Luffy, and he has a 1K counter. Then I decide to swing with both my characters. I really have to protect this Momonosuke is what I'm thinking. I can't really let him be KO'd or else he'll be able to use Luffy's ability. And then it is James's turn. But with my deck, it's pretty good late game. Early game, I can't really do much. There's not much my leader can do. She could just sit there. So I'm not really going to add a Don to her. I'm really going to focus on adding that Don to Momonosuke while he's still on the board, just to make sure that he gets that 5K swing in. And then James is going to play Laboon here, a 4-drop for 6,000. That's pretty good, and it's a dangerous threat to have on the board. James decided to swing at my Momonosuke, and I actually take this, but I believe James forgot to use his ability. He's really not used to this character, or he did do it, excuse me. So he used his ability after he KO'd my Momonosuke, and from that point on, I realized the ability, because I'm not too familiar with Black Luffy's ability, but from that point on, I realized, okay, I can't really let any characters be KO'd. So right now, I'm looking for those high-cost cards, or hoping that I get those high-cost cards like Ace or Odin, and if I could get one of those on the board, I'm sitting pretty, and I did have one in hand. I got lucky. And this Ace, once again, I could trash a life to keep him alive if he were to be KO'd. So I'm going to swing with all my characters right now. I just have to keep in the back of my mind that I have to protect them, you know. Can't let him get that extra rested Don, because that could be pretty dangerous. But as a leader, I don't really think that goes with Black. I don't think giving rested Don to a character really goes well with Black. I think it definitely could have gone better for a different color, but I don't think it's that good a fit with Black. So that's the only reason I wouldn't consider running Black Luffy as a leader. But it seems like James really does have some good cards in his deck, like especially those event cards. Those are pretty nice, and his 9-drop Shanks I really have to watch out for as well. So I forgot what James plays here, but let's see. He rests 4, and he plays, I can't see because of his hand. He plays Shirahoshi, so that's another blocker. Give up to one of your opponent's characters -4 cost. So he's aiming to pop my Ace, and he uses one of his events to do so. But the thing is, I know with Ace's ability, I could just trash that card, so I decided to trash that life card, because he's really not going to have anything to swing with here, because I have the counters to get out of all the attacks he wants to do. So let's see. After that attack does not go through, he decides to swing with the Laboon at the Luffy, and I decide to counter out of that. I mainly want board control right here. He swings at the Luffy again, and I burn a 1K counter. I'm just trying to not give him that rested Don, because that could really make his deck really, really good. But if you're going against this Black Luffy, just make sure to protect most of your characters. Don't mind burning those counters, because if you have character presence, you could just knock out those characters that do pose a threat. So right here, I'm just counting out my Don, making sure I could swing at that Laboon and hopefully take it out. But I decide to play another Luffy first, another good one to have on board. I swing with Ace at the Laboon. He uses his blocker, and I forgot what I was doing here. Okay, I add 2 to my leader, and I decide to swing at the Laboon again, because that Laboon's just a huge threat, and he uses another blocker. So really right here, I'm just thinking, okay, what can I do? Do I want to swing at the Laboon again? And I do. Or no, I swing at his leader. I should have swung at his Laboon, but he could have just 1K countered out of it, or 2K countered out of it. So I was thinking maybe I just swing at his leader and be able to take off that life and leave the Laboon there, because I'm going to have to tank it again eventually. And I'm pretty sure he's going to target my Ace, because that's like the biggest threat on the board. But it seems like with James, he has a lot of these low-cost characters that do high damage, but not that many effects. And you can kind of see the Shanks in his hand. I didn't know he had that, obviously, but I think he's contemplating about playing it here. Now, in some situations, that Shanks would be really good to play, but against a yellow archetype, it really wouldn't be, because I don't have that many one-cost characters, so you would be wasting 9 Don to get that character on the field when he can't really do much. So that's the only drawback to Shanks. But I mean, he would be amazing against a Zoro deck or a red-green Law. That would be be amazing for them. So he's really just contemplating what he wants to do here. I'm pretty sure he has another blocker in hand, if I see that correctly. Or no, he's going to run the exact same play as last game. So he gives my character, I think, -2 costs, I believe. I might be wrong about that. But minus something cost. And then he tries to KO that ace again. And what I'm thinking here is I could trash another life because I have the counters to get out of every swing he'll do at my leader. So I just decided to tank that. It wasn't a good card that I trashed. And then he is going to swing at my leader again. Most of his Dawn is gone, so he can't really do much. He swings with 7k, and he decides to swing at the ace, not my leader. So I want to keep that ace on board because obviously it's a threat that he's scared about. And he swings with 5k at my Luffy. I decide to take that, and his turn's over, so he can't really use that rested Dawn. So this ace really is coming in as the MVP because I get to keep that character on board, and it does keep trashing life, but I know I'm in a good position right now because I'm at 2 life, and that means I could use Yamato's ability, however you pronounce her name. So I'm divvying out my Dawn here. I'm thinking, okay, as long as I give 1 Dawn to Yamato, I should be fine, and he may not even realize that she's at 6k. I would let him know, of course, but a lot of opponents probably will not realize that she is at 6k defense for their turn. So really thinking about my Dawn here. I'm pretty sure I'm thinking about what I add and what I summon. I'm really trying to take out that Laboon right here, so I decide to add 1k to ace for 8k and swing at that Laboon. Always attack for 2k above their normal amount. He decides to block that, so I think I just need to swing with another 8k. I do, and he gets rid of that Laboon. Thank God. That is his biggest threat for sure at such a low cost for 6k too. And I add 2k to Yamato, so her ability is going to be activated during my opponent's turn, and I decide to swing at his leader. And he took that life. Sorry, I missed it. My bad. So now it is his turn. I'm sitting pretty well here because there's no way he could go for game right now. He has no rush characters in that starter deck. And I know I'm sitting pretty because he's not going to do much with that Kobe over there. I forgot how much power that Kobe's at, but it's really not a threat because I have the counters in hand. And I have 4 active Dawn that I could use for counters as well. So he ended up playing Mr. 2. So basically, if you attach a Dawn to him and he fights with one of your characters, your opponent's character is automatically KO'd and Mr. 2 is KO'd as well. He then decides to play a Luffy. I believe that Luffy is 5k for 3 costs, which is pretty good as well. Which is exactly like the Luffy I have as well, and I'm realizing that those characters are actually really, really good sometimes, and they could help you out a lot with maintaining board control. So he decides to swing with 7k at my ace, and I decide to use this counter. So if I have less than 2 life, I give minus 3,000 power to a character, so I gave minus 3,000 to the Luffy, so he couldn't kill my ace, basically. And right now, I think I'm going to swing for game, because I have 3 people I could swing with. He has 1 life, so I just have to connect with 2. So as long as 1 goes through, I'll probably stack the rest of my Dawn on that last character, or I'll stack it on ace at the end of the day. So I'm just testing out the waters. I think I'm going to give some Dawn to Luffy and see if that goes through. And I have to be kind of smart with my Dawn because I still want to keep that 1 Dawn attached so I could use Yamato's ability. So I end up going 2k on Luffy, I believe, swinging for 7k at his leader, and he doesn't have any counters, so he takes that, and I decide to stack everything on ace because he will have to counter out of this. So I swing for, I believe, like 15k at ace, and that is game. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, drop a comment, share with a friend, and as always, GLG out.